The Nintendo Switch has been out for nearly 6 months now and has been the talk of the town for pretty much all of it. Despite being the up-and-coming console on the market, there are people who complain that the Switch is not a complete system. And it's kinda hard to argue. As great as some of the games have been, there's a distinct lack of features that could take the Switch from just another console to the console. With that in mind, I'm your host 24Kevin here for 24Kevintendo, and here's 10 features missing from the Nintendo Switch. Number 10. Home menu organization. One of the most underrated features on the 3DS and the Wii U allowed you to create folders and move around all the software to its desired location. With the Switch, it just lists games that you've played starting with the most recent, and that's it. You're stuck scrolling through the entire games library in hopes of finding that game, and if you haven't played it recently enough, then into your hodgepodge of games sitting in all your software wasteland where eventually it's going to become a pain in the butt to find. It would be nice if Nintendo actually allowed the same customization options for the Switch, if only to give it that own personal touch that players love. Speaking of personal touches, number 9, themes. One of the smallest aesthetic changes to the 3DS would be one of the most welcome changes to the Switch. Let's just take a look at how bland the Nintendo Switch startup and home screen looks. So plain, so boring. Here's a quick mock-up of what the OS would look like if they actually decided to implement a 3DS-type theme. Look at how much better that looks! It gives the home screen even more personality, and that all-important personal touch Nintendo fans enjoy. While it is a very small change, it certainly adds a little bit of pizzazz to an otherwise monotonous loading screen. Number 8. Online services. Who knows what the heck is going on with Nintendo Switch's online service? Initially planned for fall of 2007, Nintendo announced the service will be delayed until 2018, and it cannot get here soon enough. With how shoddy the online service has been recently, especially with Splatoon 2, Nintendo has a desperate need to upgrade its online servers. One has to imagine that this will happen once they start to receive their paid subscriptions. In addition, I can't wait to have the classic NES games released to relive my youth and try to take down all the high scores that I can. I'm not really looking forward to actually paying for it though, but that's because I'm Scottish. What? We're notoriously thrifty. Number 7. Voice and Party Chat. Alright Nintendo, it's time we had a little chat about this. Don't get me wrong, I do love the Switch app you put out, and love what you're doing with Splatoon 2. The exclusive items you can order, the stat tracking, hell, even the Inkling landmarks was a pretty dang cool idea. What is inexcusable is only having a voice app available through the app, especially when you have a perfectly good headphone jack on your Nintendo Switch as it is. I get that people are going to be on the go, so it would be hard to implement a voice chat without hotspotting your phone in, but I would much rather that. The only benefit I could see from doing things this way is to save the user's data usage. I just can't understand why Nintendo felt the need to be different in this case and just couldn't implement both methods. That way at least they would give their players the chance to play whatever way comes naturally and would probably have received a lot less backlash for it. Number 6. The web browser. So pretty sure most people are aware of the workaround available on the Switch. But the fact that it's a home console in 2017 and it doesn't have some form of web browsing is astonishing. Look, if I wanted to check Facebook or Twitter or anything of the like, it would be nice to be able to pull it up on my gamepad. I've said it multiple times before, even if I'm out and about, I would love to be able to pull up some social media on the Switch or just check out Reddit to keep my mind occupied with something other than video games. I'd just like to have a bigger screen I don't have to squint at or increase the font size substantially. This way I don't feel like I'm getting old. Plus, it's free advertisement for you Nintendo if people have their Switch out and they're checking everything on it. Number 5. Streaming services. The final piece of the online trio, streaming services are absolutely essentials for the Nintendo Switch. As I've mentioned before, I understand Nintendo not including these at launch as they didn't want consumers confusing the Switch for a general tablet device. As the industry moves on and develops though, streaming services such as Netflix, Hulu, and even YouTube have become industry standards at this point, and will be absolutely counterintuitive for Nintendo not to include these in the future. And honestly, including these services could help the Switch replace a family's normal tablet device, because if someone found something they wanted the whole family to enjoy, they could just slide it into the dock and away you go. Suddenly the Switch's perception goes from one meant for kids to one the whole family can enjoy, and that has always been Nintendo's goal with its home consoles. Number 4. A second charging method. Alright, whoever designed the Switch made a huge snafu by putting the charge port on the bottom of the console. Why? Why would you do that? It literally makes no sense. If my Switch died while I was on a trip and I wanted to keep playing my Switch in tabletop mode, I would need to craft some sort of stand or holder so that it would be able to charge while I'm playing. And I know Nintendo put out the port on the bottom so that it could slide into the Switch dock for seamless transitions, but why not include a secondary port on the top to give users the option how they want to charge it? By adding a secondary charge port on the top of the tablet, you've suddenly made this product infinitely times more well designed. And honestly, this is probably the biggest first world problem with the Switch. Number 3, backup saves. This one's kind of tricky as Nintendo's basically already confirmed this one is on the horizon. Way back when the Switch was only known as the NX, it was stated that the online services will eventually allow game save data, such as character data, to be stored in our cloud system so that you can use them both for the software for dedicated game systems and for our smart device applications. While the idea and execution seems good enough, why the heck wasn't it released already? Granted, Nintendo is probably holding off until the launch of their full online system. It probably would have come in handy to those players who like to take their Switch on the go, and then forgot it on an airplane with over 100 hours of save data on Breath of the Wild. Number 2, an achievement system. How Nintendo has never implemented some form of achievement system for their games is completely beyond me. You could give players coins for clearing easier challenges, and the harder ones could give stars, just like in Mario Party. I know Nintendo has said in the past they don't view achievements as fun, just as obligations that players think they have to complete, and while I do understand their point of view, it should be completely up to the player on whether or not players want to complete these missions. Some time ago, Mr. Miyamoto even said he wasn't happy with how quickly players progress through the games and not taking time to truly appreciate the game, always just looking for the next experience. You know how to get your players to keep playing the game after they've accomplished the main story? Achievements! It would push players to really try and explore every nook and cranny of the game and do exactly what Nintendo wants them to do, which is appreciate every aspect of the game. And it gives players some replayability in games that would initially have none. It's a win-win for everyone! And the number 1 feature missing from the Nintendo Switch is the Virtual Console. Well, no surprises here. Ever since the Switch launched, the lack of Virtual Console has irked early adopters. Now, I get that Nintendo likes to add games over time so as not to overwhelm gamers, but the lack of Virtual Console right now is befuddling. If the NES Classic was any indication, people love Nintendo retro games. Adding them to the Switch when the NES Classic was damn near impossible to get would have been a genius idea. If the Switch actually had the stock to support it, that is. In the end, Nintendo was probably waiting for more consoles to be sold, so there's a proper install base for whatever games they release. For example, if Nintendo were to release all the GameCube games at once on the Virtual Console, most people would probably go and download Super Mario Sunshine, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and the like, and hidden gems like Custom Robo and Chibi Robo wouldn't get noticed and probably wouldn't see the same sales results that they normally would with a staggered release. So maybe Nintendo does know what they're doing with the Switch. Maybe actually getting the Virtual Console up and running is more difficult than they thought it was. But even without these features, there's no arguing how successful the Switch already is. It's just a matter of whether or not Nintendo are hampering its full potential. And that's the list. Did you guys think anything was missing? Leave a comment down below and let me know what feature you guys would most like on the Nintendo Switch. For everyone here at 24KevNintendo, I'm your host 24Kevin. I gotta go though. I gotta go put my Switch in the dock because I can't charge it while playing it. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!